Welcome to our channel.
In this video, we're going to discuss the challenges that we face traveling to Australia's outback.
In particular, food prices, safety, fuel, temperature, and how we overcame these challenges. Food prices. We had a tight budget and roadhouses do not accommodate for tight budgets.
However, we packed as campers and not as travelers. This was a mistake on our part, which happened to turn out really well because we had a freezer full of meat. We had a lot of canned non-perishables like canned veggies, canned sauces, tuna. Yeah, we were set.
We suggest creating a food menu and bringing as many ingredients as possible. It'll save you a pretty penny.
As for water, a lot of roadhouses didn't have any drinking water. So what we did as a safety net is we filled all the nooks and crannies of the van with these tiny little water bottles, and that was about 15 liters. So if they didn't have any and we had to top up, we were still alright. Safety. With many travellers coming in the opposite direction, warning us that some places were a bit dodgy, like Port Augusta, Cooper Pedy, Alice Springs, we realised that safety might be a real concern.
Consequently, we asked travellers heading in opposite directions how they experienced the towns we were approaching. We always exercise vigilance, making sure that we look, lock and leave. We made closing our curtains a routine whenever we'd leave the van, putting our valuables out of sight.
At night, we'd either park up with other travellers or outside of town in some rest stop. And at night, we'd lock all of our doors. Central locking was useful for this one, but we'd also make sure that we could actually get into the front seat via the back. That meant crawling over our freezer, but it was doable. We only did this thing once, and that was outside of Yulara somewhere in an abandoned gravel pit, and we heard some noises, freaked out a little bit, and it was more preventative than actually having any issues. But you know, well, better safe than sorry.
That being said, we had no trouble, and everyone we encountered we found friendly, approachable and knowledgeable. Fuel. We ran out of fuel once because we were stingy and we didn't fill our jerry can when we had the chance to fill it up.
There are stretches of over 300 kilometers where there's just no fuel stations, and if you do get to one, you run the very real risk of it either being closed or sold out.
Now, we have a 60-litre fuel tank in the van itself. We had a 10-litre jerry can, and our little girl, she is not fuel efficient. She can manage about 13 litres per 100 kilometres. That being said, that's when you drive 85 to 95 kilometres per hour.
Thankfully, we had a few things in our favour when we ran out. We were 20 kilometres from the next fuel station. We were on a busy highway. It was midday. There were a lot of traffic. We didn't have any reception, so we were worried about RAC not being able to come help us. But 3 people stopped within the first 15 minutes. 2 of them couldn't help us. The third guy volunteered to take Emil to the fuel station and drive him back, even though he just came from that direction. It just shows how nice people are.
Outback hospitality. Keep your jerry can full, and if you do happen to run out, make sure you stay with your vehicle and with water and look out for help.
As we said, reception is not guaranteed, so if you're going off of the main roads, make sure that you either have a satellite phone or emergency beacon. It's a strong consideration to make.
Temperature. Seeing the outback in conditions that Danielle could appreciate meant that we planned our whole trip around the weather.
And we have zero regrets about seeing the outback at the end of winter. It was spectacular. It might have been winter, but the sun was still pretty hot until the sunset. As soon as it was gone, temperatures plummeted. So we took both summer and winter clothing.
For the freezing desert nights, we used merino wool thermals, both an extra wool blanket and a duvet.
We hope you've enjoyed this video.
Please let us know down below where you've travelled and your experiences. We'll see you in the next video.